All right, today we are jumping into a huge question, one that's at the very heart of dating. How do you spot an unhealthy relationship before you're in way too deep? We're going to break down some of the key red flags that relationship experts have identified so you have the tools to make smarter, more conscious choices about who you let into your life. You know, you've heard the saying a million times, right? You can't choose who you fall in love with. It makes love sound like this, I don't know, like a lightning strike, this magical, uncontrollable force that just happens to you. But what if that's not the whole story? What if you actually have way more power in this than you think?
Well, according to the experts we're looking at today, the answer is a resounding yes. You absolutely can choose. Now, the secret isn't about trying to control your feelings. It's about learning to recognize specific behavioral patterns, like right from the get-go. Understanding these dynamics is kind of like having a map. It helps you steer clear of those dead-end relationships and find your way to something genuinely healthy.
Okay, so our first big theme is all about patterns rooted in self-absorption. We're talking about archetypes where the relationship is basically seen as a way to get something, personal gain, status, you name it, with very little thought for the other person's needs.
First up, we've got an archetype sometimes called the princess. Now, this is a person who is often super confident, very attractive, and just naturally draws people in. But right below that shiny surface, there's this powerful, I deserve it attitude. For her, a relationship isn't a two-way street. It's more like a contest where she's the grand prize, and her partner's job is just to prove they're worthy of winning her.
So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, a lot of it comes down to scorekeeping. She's keeping this mental tally of everything her partner does for her. It creates this one-way street of giving, where her happiness is pretty much the only thing on the agenda. There's almost no thought given to, reciprocity, or what her partner might need emotionally.
Okay, so that's one flavor of self-centeredness. Now let's look at another, which YouTuber Jessica Oss calls the serial social climber. While the princess wants to be served, the social climber, well, she wants to advance. She's not so much interested in you as a person, but way more interested in what you represent. Your job, your connections, your lifestyle, those are the things that are really attractive to her.
So how do you even spot this? I mean, the signs can be kind of subtle, but they're very telling. You got to pay attention. Are the first conversations all about status symbols like your job or your car? Does she get super excited when you mention you know someone influential? She might seem incredibly supportive of your ambitions, but the real motivation there is to ride your coattails and use your success for her own benefit.
And this quote from Jessica Oz just nails it. She doesn't love you, she loves the lifestyle you can give her and the doors you can open. The connection isn't with you, the person, it's with the access and the opportunities you provide. It's basically a business transaction disguised as a romance. All right, let's shift gears. Our next section dives into patterns that come from insecurity and unresolved stuff from the past. This is where old emotional wounds can start bleeding into the present, creating these dynamics of mistrust and self-sabotage that make a healthy connection, well, almost impossible.
This brings us to a really tough archetype, one that's sometimes called the scaredy cat. This is someone who's been really, truly hurt before, and she carries that fear with her into every new interaction. And her behavior isn't coming from a bad place, it's a defense mechanism. She's built this incredibly high wall around her heart, and she's operating from this belief that she's just going to get rejected again anyway.
The crucial thing is how this deep-seated mistrust shows up. She might constantly put her partner through these little tests to prove their loyalty. When you show her affection, she questions if it's even real. And here's the painful paradox. She might even pick fights or end the relationship herself because being the one to leave, that gives her a little bit of control in a situation where she feels completely powerless. And where the scaredy cat turns her past pain inward and it becomes fear, our next archetype turns it outward and it becomes blame. Let me introduce you to the perpetual victim. With this person, nothing is ever their fault. Life is just this constant stream of terrible things happening to her, and she is always the one who's been wronged. The number one defining trait here is a complete and total lack of personal responsibility.
You'll see this pop up as a constant pattern of blame shifting. I mean, if every single one of her exes was a monster, that's a huge red flag. When any problem comes up, there's always an excuse or someone else to point the finger at. And if you try to gently suggest, hey, maybe you had a small part to play in this, she will fight you on it, because that victim identity is, well, it's everything to her.
Okay, for our third and final theme, we're talking about patterns that inject chaos, drama, and control into a relationship. These are the behaviors that just destroy any sense of peace and stability. and they leave a partner feeling constantly exhausted and on edge.
The chronic drama queen can actually seem really exciting at first, you know? Her life is just full of these wild stories and intense emotions. But here's the thing you have to understand. She thrives on this chaos. For her, drama isn't just something that happens in life. It's the main event. If things get too calm or too peaceful, she will actually create drama just to feel comfortable again.
The biggest giveaway is that she is the common denominator in all of her conflicts. She's the one person who's always there. She'll turn a small issue into a massive catastrophe, and just seems to get energy from gossip and negativity. And make no mistake, that drama is not going to stay on the outside for long. Eventually, you will be cast as the villain in her next big story.
You might think, oh, it's just a little drama, but the long-term cost of this is huge. It's not just about dealing with a few extra arguments. A relationship like this is like a slow poison. It just erodes your mental health, sucks your energy dry, and completely undermines your sense of peace.
And finally, we have the overly controlling perfectionist. And this one is especially tricky because her behavior can look like a good thing at first. She seems to care so much, she's organized, and she just wants what's best for you. But if you look under the surface, it's not actually about care, it's about control.
This slide really breaks down the difference so well. See, healthy support encourages your growth. Unhealthy control micromanages your actions. One gives you genuine compliments. The other gives you this constant stream of criticism that's disguised as helpful feedback. Healthy support respects your choices, your autonomy. Control gets anxious and upset when things don't go exactly her way, according to her plan.
So after looking at all these archetypes, the princess, the victim, the drama queen, it's pretty easy to get caught up in the labels, right? But let's just take a step back for a second and look at the bigger picture that our sources are really pointing to.
The point of all this isn't to walk around trying to put people into little boxes or diagnose everyone you go on a date with. People are complicated, and a lot of us might show little flashes of these traits here and there without actually embodying the whole pattern.
The real key, the most important thing is this. It's about pattern recognition. It's about learning to spot the underlying dynamics, the entitlement, the insecurity, the drama, the control that consistently get in the way of a healthy, trusting, and mutual relationship ever being able to grow.
And that really leaves us with one last question to think about. If these are all the patterns that push real connection away, what are the patterns that pull it closer? What are the green flags that you're looking for? What does it actually mean for our connection to feel stable, supportive, and to truly deeply feel like home?